There's a language your life speaks when words won't reach you anymore. Are you listening? There's a moment that comes to all of us. A moment when everything you've built suddenly feels wrong. The job you worked years to get feels hollow. The relationship you fought to keep feels like a cage. The life you convinced yourself you wanted feels like someone else's dream. And you sit there in the quiet, wondering, how did I end up here? But here's what no one tells you. That feeling isn't failure. It's a calling, a whisper from somewhere deeper than your mind, louder than your fear, trying to pull you back to the path you were always meant to walk. The Stoics called it your demon, your inner guide. Jung called it the self, trying to integrate what you've denied. The mystics called it the soul's rebellion against a life unlived. But you called it a crisis. And maybe, just maybe, that crisis was the first moment of clarity you've had in years. Because here's the truth they don't want you to know. The universe doesn't punish you for being on the wrong path. It just makes it impossible to stay there. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." But let's sit with that for a second. What if the obstacles you've been facing weren't random? What if the job you lost wasn't bad luck, but a release? What if the person who left you didn't abandon you, but freed you? What if every door that slammed in your face was the universe saying, "Not this one. Keep moving"? We spend so much of our lives trying to force things, forcing relationships that were already over, forcing careers that drained our soul, forcing ourselves to be happy in places we were never meant to stay. And the universe, it doesn't argue with you. It doesn't send a lightning bolt with instructions. It just makes things harder. The job becomes unbearable. The relationship becomes exhausting. The city starts to feel like a prison. And you think you're being tested. But you're not being tested. You're being redirected. And here's the paradox. The more you resist the redirection, the louder it gets. Jung believed that the psyche is self-regulating, that when you stray too far from your authentic self, the unconscious sends you symptoms, anxiety, restlessness, a deep, aching sense that something is wrong, even when everything looks right. He called it the confrontation with the shadow. But in spiritual terms, it's your soul, refusing to be ignored. Think about it. How many times have you felt that pull, that quiet voice saying, "This isn't it"? That dream you kept having about a different life. That strange, persistent urge to leave, to quit, to walk away from everything you've known. And you buried it. You told yourself you were being irrational. You told yourself to be grateful. You told yourself that everyone feels this way. But everyone doesn't feel that way. You do. And that's not random. Because the calling doesn't come from fear. It doesn't come from ego. It comes from the part of you that knows. The part of you that existed before you learned to shrink. Yourself to fit into spaces that were never meant for you. But here's what makes this dangerous. Most people spend their entire lives running from the very thing that could save them. So how does it actually work? How does the universe redirect you? Not through mystical signs or burning bushes, but through friction. When you're on the wrong path, everything requires more effort. You wake up tired, even after sleeping. Conversations feel forced. Success feels empty. You achieve things and feel nothing. This is what the ancient Stoics understood, that nature has a flow, and when you're aligned with it, there's a strange ease, even in difficulty. But when you're against it, even simple things become exhausting. Seneca said, "It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that things are difficult. But there's a deeper layer. Sometimes things are difficult because they're not yours to do. The relationship you're fighting for, maybe it's not meant to be saved. The career you're clinging to, maybe it's not meant to be climbed. The version of yourself you're trying to become, maybe it was never real. And the exhaustion you feel, that's not weakness. That's your soul telling you to stop trying to be someone you're not. And this is where it gets psychological. What if everything you're holding on to is what's holding you back? Jung spoke about something called individuation, the process of becoming who you truly are. But here's the catch. You can't become yourself while you're still pretending to be someone else. And most of us, we built our entire identity around what we thought we should be. The good son, the successful daughter, the reliable partner, the person who has it all together. But underneath, there's another you. The one who wanted to paint, the one who wanted to travel, the one who wanted to be alone, the one who wanted to scream, break free, burn it all down, and start over. And for years, you buried that version of yourself. You called it irresponsible. You called it selfish. You called it a phase. But it wasn't a phase. It was the truth. And the universe, it won't let you forget. So it starts dismantling the false life, not to destroy you, but to free you. The relationship ends. The job disappears. The identity crumbles, and you think you're falling apart. But you're not falling apart. You're falling into yourself. Which brings us to the most important question. What happens when you finally stop resisting? Here's what the Stoics knew. You cannot control the direction of the wind, but you can adjust your sails. So if you're feeling that pull right now, that restlessness, that dissatisfaction, that quiet voice whispering, there's something else. Stop treating it like a problem. Start treating it like information. Ask yourself, what part of my life requires the most force to maintain? Where are you performing instead of being? Where are you pretending instead of feeling? Where are you staying out of fear instead of love? Because here's the thing, the calling doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't wait for the perfect moment. It just keeps showing up in your dreams, in your anxiety, in that ache in your chest when you think about what if. And you can ignore it. You can bury yourself in work, in distractions, in relationships that keep you numb. But eventually, the universe runs out of patience. And it doesn't whisper anymore. It roars. The breakdown happens. The dark night of the soul arrives. The life you built collapses, not as punishment, but as liberation. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." And you cannot be master of yourself when you're living someone else's life. So maybe the real question isn't, why is this happening to me? But what am I being called toward? There's an old story in Zen Buddhism. A student asks the master, "How do I find enlightenment?" And the master says, "Do you hear that stream?" The student listens. "Yes, I hear it." The master smiles. Enter from there. The calling is like that stream. It's always been there. Underneath the noise, underneath the fear, underneath the life you built to please everyone but yourself. And it's not asking you to be perfect. It's not asking you to have a plan. It's just asking you to listen, to stop forcing, to stop pretending, to stop trying to make the wrong path work. Because the universe isn't punishing you. It's not testing you. It's trying to bring you home. And home isn't a place. It's not a job, a relationship, a city, or a version of yourself. Home is the moment you stop resisting who you really are. The moment you stop running from the calling. The moment you finally say, I hear it, and you enter. The path was never lost. You were just walking someone else's. But now you know the way.